Hello, welcome, and welcome back to the United Mates Football Podcast. As ever, I am joined by my co-host Joe. Also joining us is our good friend John, and then as we like to do, we also have a special guest on the call with us, and Joe will be giving him a proper introduction in just a moment. But what I will say is that this guest was involved in one of the most widely anticipated phone calls since Richard Nixon and the Watergate scandal. I'm sure he's going to be doing the actual story better justice than that and telling us a bit more about it before the end of today's show. But before we get to that, John is here as well. Welcome back to the pod, man.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, good to have you, mate. Have you been enjoying Lockdown 2.0?
Yeah, it's been all right. So my birthday was yesterday, so celebrated that and just ate tons of junk food. And I think, you know, when you obviously become a football fan and your parents get you loads of memorabilia and stuff like merchandise, I swear you just never grow out of it. Your parents still get you stuff like that. So I got an Arsenal blanket like yesterday from my mum, and I was just like,
no, I can relate.
Fair enough. Okay.
My mum got me an Arsenal dog collar. Obviously not for me. So yeah, no, I can relate to that, John. But yeah, happy birthday yesterday. I guess just to point out, yesterday was John's birthday, the day that we are recording. The four of us on the call, I'm sure we'll all know, unfortunately, that Diego Maradona sadly passed away today. But just as, for reference, today is the day that sadly Maradona has passed away. That's when we're recording. But from that sort of somber note, moving on to my co-host, Joe. I know that you and today's special guest have a bit of a history. Something that the club which our guest today supports might be lacking, you might say. But I just had to get that one in early. But I'm sure you can have as many free hits as me as you'd like throughout the show. But yeah, I had to get that one in there. But I should say. In all seriousness though, John, you were on the episode a while back where we had Johnny Sharple. So there were two Johns that day. And today I'm sort of getting ahead of myself in introducing the guest, but Joe, my co-host, finds himself in that same situation. So Joe, how are you doing, and how does it feel to be one of two Joes on the call today? That would be Joe, my co-host.
Hi Kai, yeah, I'm good, thanks. And it's nice to have another Joe on board. I guess what I should say is I'm delighted to welcome a former colleague as well as a good friend of mine. So when we were at work together, I was used to there being another Joe close by very often. But yeah, a big welcome to the United Mates Football Podcast, to the one and only Joe Davies. Joe is an avid Chelsea fan, sadly, and prior to COVID, you'd probably find him on the shelf upper for all matches at Stamford Bridge, but he also travels to a lot of Chelsea's away games in the UK, as well as travelling abroad as well to watch the Blues. Joe, it's great to have you on the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. I think you mean shed upper, not a shelf, but...
Oh, yeah?
But I assume you've run out of interesting people to speak to and decided to go to me. So I appreciate you asking me on.
Oh no, it's great to have you. And yeah, I was thinking of I've used the old shelf at White Hart Lane. That wasn't even meant to be a dig. That's just a part. But there we have it. We always start with an icebreaker, or at least we have recently. So Keitel mentioned it a bit earlier, but a few years ago, Joe had the pleasure, or I guess perhaps the displeasure, probably to me, John and Keitel, of speaking to John Terry on the phone. So Joe, if you were in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right? And you had the phone a friend lifeline, but you're only allowed to call footballers, who would be the footballer that you would call?
Frank Lampard, obviously, he's a genius. Easy. That's the easiest question of all time.
Frank Lampard, oh God. He's like even potentially even worse than John Terry. But okay, Frank Lampard, that's all right. Fair enough.
Famously has his Latin A level. So
yeah, he does. That is true.
That would be from Brentwood School.
Yes, it was, I think. I think just before I ask the other guys, mine would have to be Højbjerg at Spurs, because I just think he's very assured in himself, and I reckon he'd be straight with you, and if he knew the answer, he'd tell you immediately, or if he didn't, he'd move on quickly. But John, who would you be calling in this scenario?
Do you know what? It's a bit random, but I would go for David Luiz because he's a well-travelled man. London, Paris, Brazil, obviously, and he's just so random in how he plays. So I just know he must have random knowledge about like Henry VIII or something. I can just tell he does. Also, he'll also be in on a Saturday night because he'll be banned or something. So perfect. You know what I mean?
Always there to help out. Yeah. What about you, Kai? Who is your footballer of choice for Phone a Friend?
It's not easy because I'm trying to rack my brain for the most sort of like intelligent footballers that I can think of, and I have to go way back. I don't think he even plays anymore. I think Liam Rosenior was probably more famous almost for being the son of Leroy and a smart footballer than for actually being a good footballer. Which I'm sure Joe Davies might agree with, considering that he was a Fulham player. But yeah, Liam Rosenior I'll go with. Anyway, let's move on from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire to a game. Actually, we're going to jump right into one, and it's probably our oldest game that we've been playing on the pod, and probably the most straightforward one as well. Not necessarily always the easiest though, but the rules are simple. So it's Who Are Ya? And I'm thinking of a player. Between the rest of you guys, you're going to be asking me as many questions as you need to narrow down the options. I have a few of these ones prepared, and then of course today, with Joe Davies as our guest, they're going to be Chelsea related in one way or another. So the first one, and also, if you're listening to the pod, play along. Given that Chelsea, yesterday, beat Rennes in the Champions League, that's going to be the link. So this is a player who at one point in his career played for Rennes. And feel free to ask as many questions as you need to figure out who it is.
Okay. So he played for Rennes, but not Chelsea. Is that all?
No, he did not play for Chelsea, this guy. He has played in the Premier League, though.
Okay. Well, we can rule out Cech and Mendy then, I guess.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get that early doors, but...
Yeah, no, he didn't play for Chelsea, this guy. The other ones will have that I've got coming up later. But what else I'll say about this guy is that his one spell in the Premier League was a loan spell for a team that doesn't play in the Premier League anymore.
Ooh, I have a feeling...
Joe might have it.
Well, I'll just ask a question. Is this a team that are based in London?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's not Stefan Umbia. That's what I was thinking.
Really?
No, it's not, although I think maybe he did play for Rennes. But
yeah, who knows?
Okay, anyway, carry on, guys. Yeah, ask away.
One spell in the Premier League on loan. Okay.
Is he French?
He is French. And he was very strongly linked to a Premier League club for an entire summer. Like Twitter was all over it, and then it turned out that it was just nonsense.
I'm trying to think.
Are we talking recently?
So he played in the Premier League in the 2015-2016 season. He plays in Greece for Olympiacos currently. And like I said, he's French, and he started with Rennes.
Is he a centre half?
He's not, but he is a defensive player.
Okay.
Although
Did he play for Stoke?
No, but he played for another team that wears red and white stripes in the Premier League.
Oh. Did he play for Southampton?
No, you're narrowing down the red and white stripe teams. There's probably one left. No, one left.
Sunderland.
Yeah, he did play for Sunderland on loan for a season, and it looked like he must have been a bit of an ever-present because Wikipedia says 37 games and 1 goal. Joe has it.
Yeah. So it's not Stefan Umbia, but is it Jan Umbia?
It is Jan Umbia, the guy who for a summer was basically touted as the answer to Arsenal's defensive midfield issues, and then of course we never signed him, and then of course he was never going to be that good of a player anyway, so it was all just a waste of time. But that's Jan Umbia. But let's move on to somebody who did actually play for Chelsea. So let's see what else I can give you as a clue besides that. This next guy has played for Chelsea, and he's the same nationality as like another very, very famous Chelsea player.
Oh, Joe, any idea?
Well, there's a lot of we've had a lot of players from a lot of good countries, so
There's like one player in particular from this country who would stand out as a Chelsea legend, and then this guy not as much, but he happens to be from the same country.
I have an idea. Was he more of like a sort of super sub, this guy?
I wouldn't say he was a super anything, this guy.
Oh,
Is he Ivorian?
No, he's not.
I was thinking Salomon Kalou. I was thinking,
Fair enough.
No Kalou slander at all. He was a top player.
Yeah, he's got good stats. Check out his stats. Genuinely.
Yeah, no,
Really
good.
So is he Czech?
he is. So you might have it, Joe.
I'm trying to think of our Czech players now.
oh,
Yuri Yarashik?
Yeah, it is Yuri Yarashik.
Wow.
Apparently,
Happy with that.
And so now the last one, and this one has a double link to Chelsea currently, because I think in your Champions League group besides Rennes is Seville, and next week I think you're going to be playing them or sometime again soon. So this guy played for Chelsea, and he also played for Sevilla at a certain point. Yeah.
Trying to think.
Chelsea and Sevilla.
Sevilla would not have been like a super notable club for him.
Spanish, Keitel?
No, he's not Spanish.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
Nothing off the top of my head.
He's quite highly rated when he came to Chelsea. And it looks like he played 6 games for Chelsea in total in the space of 4
sounds about right.
4 years.
Is he Portuguese?
No. He's strangely enough, he's born in Bosnia, it looks like, but that's not the country that he represented.
He's not one of the Chelsea players. I know there's a lot of them that's had loads of loans all over the place, is he?
He's been loaned to 4 different teams during his time at Chelsea, and he doesn't play for them anymore.
Is Vitesse one of them?
Actually, for once, Vitesse is not one of them.
Oh, that's a plot twist. That is a plot twist.
Is it Marco Marin?
Yeah, go on, John. Go on, John. Yeah, Marco Marin.
I remember those 6 games. I remember those 6 games.
Chelsea and 1 goal. But yeah, way to go, guys. I guess did each one of you get one of those? Yeah, I think Joe got the first one, Joe Davies got the second, and then John. So nice.
I watched Marco Marin in the pre-season game, and I remember thinking he was going to be better than Hazard. So.
Really?
I was about to ask what your memories were of him. I remember him having a really good game against Tottenham for Werder Bremen, I think it would have been.
I remember that as well.
A lot of players have good games against Tottenham, Joe. It's not.
Oh, there we go. Nice. Well, as I mentioned at the start, Keitel, Joe Davies is not your average Chelsea fan. So Joe, along with a group of other, quite frankly, misguided individuals who choose to support Chelsea, travel all over the country and, to some extent, all over the world, following their side. So, Joe, what I'm interested to know is, what do you enjoy the most about traveling to all these Chelsea games that you go to? And I know you've been to plenty in many countries, but do you have any particular favourite memories from any of the games you've been to?
Yeah, I've definitely got some memories I can't repeat over a camera for sure. But now I guess what's really lucky with me is how I've got a really good group of mates who we all go together. So like I started off going to football when I was younger with my dad. And weirdly, actually, it's like the whole Twitter thing has sort of made me a massive group of friends really. Like from about, must be at least 7 years ago now. Like I just remember when Twitter started going up and like people were going for football and whatnot. As I was going to games, I keep sort of bumping into people that I seem to follow on Twitter. And then basically throughout the years, as it's gone on, now we've just got a really close friendship group. Like we've got a five-a-side team. We go all over, like you say, go all over Europe and away. And like, I mean, that's the best thing is because like, no matter where we go, like there's always at least 6 of us at the very least. And like, so we're always going for a drink, always enjoying ourselves and just like, just having a good time really. Like the football obviously is like secondary to the day really, because you're just like with your mates and like we've also obviously always got that bonds and stuff and like we've had some great ones. I'm trying to think of like actually to be fair, today I've got my favourite memories. 5 years ago I was in Israel for when we played Maccabi Tel Aviv, and that was a great trip. Just because it was like really cool. Like, I went to Israel to watch Chelsea, which was like, I think we only had a couple of hundred out there. Like there weren't many of us. And a couple of seasons ago, Bartek Borisov was a really good one as well, because we had a good group of us. Probably about, I think there was 6 of us. And yeah, that was just great. Just as a group, we just sort of like we have a tradition on a European away where we have the first lunch sets up the trip. So as soon as we land, we need to find a good local restaurant, and as how good that meal is sort of will go on how good the trip will be. So yeah, we've had some like Belarus with just nice stodgy meat and potato types of food, which was great. And then Istanbul for the Super Cup was just like kebabs and stuff. So it's brilliant.
Nice. No, I remember the Belarus trip back when I was working with you. I remember when you got back from that, hearing all the stories from that. But I know you just said about having that first meal, but surely the first meal is the pint and the full English at the airport before you get.
I mean, yeah, that is true. So that is true. Yeah. With the Belarus, which was really good, is we flew to Kiev and stopped over for like half hour and then got another plane to Minsk. Our flight was at 3 a.m. And for some reason, our flight got cancelled. No idea why. So we had moved it back a day. And it was like, I think we flew out actually was like a Sunday into Monday. So like 3 a.m. on a Monday morning, we flew out to Belarus, like landed about 6 a.m. for 2 hours forward, I think it is. So 8 their time. And we went out, we checked into Airbnbs and I went out for a lunch. Was really drinking throughout the day. Went to this bar, and like, this bar was absolutely ramo. Like it was probably the size of like a kitchen or a hallway. It was tiny, but it was absolutely rammed. And it's full of just like these Russian like Europop songs, which was like brilliant. And like it's the best night out I've ever had. We was out till about 5 or 6 a.m, just like in this one place. We were just saying to each other, like, how on earth is a Monday night that good here? Like we just like don't understand. It turned out we just like flew out. It was like a Belarusian Independence Day, so it was like a bank holiday. So we got lucky. Our flight cancelled. We had like literally the best night out of my life. And I think all of that, where I was drinking all day, eating all day. I think I spent the equivalent of like 60 quid being out for near on 24 hours. So that's that was quite decent as well.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah, I'll have to report back if I ever make it to Minsk for a night out as well. But no, it sounds great.
A lot of people are thinking that Minsk is going to be like one of their next stag locations. It's like popping up on the radar. It obviously slowed down probably right now at the moment with everything that's going on with the old voting and COVID, obviously. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that pops up as quite a staggy location in the next 5 or 6 years.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, like Minsk is like the new Split. There's all these like random, like one word, little like quick, succinct places in the corners of Europe where, yeah, you'll find English people just getting incredibly drunk, which is what we love to see. John, let's bring you in.
That's all. Talking about English people getting drunk around Europe, John. Because you've brought me good memories of going to places like Napoli and stuff like that. And do you know what? Even Wigan. I went to Wigan away like years and years ago, and I think Mikel Arteta scored like a penalty just before half time, and that was it. Like, it was pouring down. It was a terrible game. Arteta penalty off home. But do you know what? It's part of being with your mates and stuff. But what's the one away day you kind of dread in a way?
It depends. If you mean dread for the result or dread just because I don't like it, what sort of?
I would say, do you know what? A bit of both.
Oh, well, the result one, I always dread the game at Newcastle. We just always seem to lose at Newcastle, and we happen to win when we're not allowed to go, which is a classic. But I've done, and to be fair, another one's United as well. Like I've done United about 5 times, and I think I've seen 2 goals, and we haven't won a single game. Like I've just every time I go, it just seems to we never get a result, and Newcastle's the same. Ways that I don't particularly like. I never really liked Swansea. It's just
it's long, isn't it, Swansea?
So long, and like it's the stadium's like the most standard stadium. Every stadium looks the same, and it's just like next to a Frankie and Benny's. There's no good pubs really. So yeah, that's pretty. But when Swansea got relegated, I was pretty pleased. So.
Yeah, same here. Because Arsenal never used to win down there either. So, but also, what away day would you be looking forward to? Obviously, when everyone's back in the stadium and stuff like that. And
I want to look forward to Leeds if we. Well, it looks like they're definitely going to stay up. So Leeds away. I think obviously Leeds and Chelsea always got a big rivalry as well, which we ain't seen for a while. So that would be a great atmosphere. I ain't played them since we beat them 5-0 in the cup. So Leeds is one I'm definitely looking forward to. I think of the regulars, obviously Spurs. I'm always see Chelsea win at Spurs, so that's just part and parcel. 3-point lane.
Well, let me jump in. What about Fulham? Obviously, in proximity, that's going to be like pretty much the closest club. And obviously, when people, maybe not these days, but I feel like once upon a time, it was pretty obvious that was a rivalry. But that's not the big one, is it? Just being honest.
No. I mean, the funny thing about Fulham is how they despise us. Whereas a lot of Chelsea fans kind of hope they do well. They're just quite near and like we've lost the streak on loan.
Second club.
It's always been. I remember we played Fulham away last year. So our pub that we go to before a game is actually probably a Fulham pub because we drink in Putney. But obviously, when Fulham are at home, when Fulham are away, we're at home. So whatever. So, but when we played Fulham, there's like loads of Fulham in the pub afterwards that we normally go to. And we're speaking to a few of them, and they was going about how much they hate Chelsea. And we said, we don't really care. And they was absolutely fuming that we didn't hate them. They were just absolutely fuming the whole time. But yeah, we just don't really. Fulham are too just like boring to hate. I hate QPR more than I hate Fulham.
Yeah, we joke about because we used to have season tickets for a season or two at Craven Cottage. A bunch of us shared them, and I've been sad. I've said it a few times, but Arsenal beat Fulham 1-0 at Craven Cottage, and we were sat in our Fulham seats, and Van Persie scored the winner, and I got up and celebrated, and only after instantly celebrating realized that I was in the Fulham section.
Yeah,
and, sort of waited for a second to get some dirty looks or somebody to tell me to do one, and nobody said anything because nobody was passionate enough or whatever it was. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, but it's a nice day out, and it's a really, really nice.
Yeah, it is. I just go to the same pub I go to for home games. So
yeah, if anything, hopefully they can stay in the Premier League so that more people, when fans can be back in stadiums, can experience that cool stadium. But I guess going back to what was it before, you were talking about the food in Minsk and in Turkey, but another food item that I need you to tell us about, Joe, is celery. Essentially. What is the deal with grown men carrying a vegetable into a football stadium, and why is this a thing with Chelsea?
Sure, I've said this for years. Obviously, I've been since I've been a kid. I've always known it. I've always had people throwing it, seen people throwing it. I actually don't know where it come from. But I have not a clue where it's come from. I mean, I'm sure they'll probably be one of my mates now. I just think, how on earth do you not know that? But I genuinely don't. I've never asked. I just thought that's quite funny, isn't it? Just.
Have you, besides it being thrown, have you seen any celery incidents at Stamford Bridge or at an away game? Because to my knowledge, it's banned. You are not allowed to bring that.
So Cesc Fabregas, ironically, got that banned. Because when Fabregas was at Arsenal, I remember when he had a corner, he gets lobbed in the head with celery. There's a great picture of him with his mullet that he used to have.
Oh yeah,
just holding a big old lump of celery. So I think it's really funny because Fabregas, we despised him. And when he's at Barcelona, when we played him in the Champions League, he was always diving. And now, even when he joined, it took me about a good season to even warm to him a little bit because I just didn't trust him. But now, everyone loves him, obviously, at Chelsea now. But I don't know. It's kind of just seen obviously, you just see celery landing people's pints and then people smacking people in the back of the head. Just especially cup final days, supermarkets around Wembley must have a shoe in, and they must sell so much celery.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's quite funny. I never really thought about that. All the guys, rushing to Tesco before the big.
Yeah, there's a great video after we won the league of Diego Costa just pelting celery as well, because obviously everyone just throws it around no one throws it hard. They throw it high with a bit of, and then you've got a video of Costa just zipping them along people's boats along the front of the road.
I guess if anyone was going to take it too far, it was.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolute lunatic, that bloke.
We're going to move on to almost a game. It's a bit of a feature section that we've done before, and it's the lifetime fantasy draft. So we've done Arsenal, we've done the Bundesliga, La Liga, and Serie A 2. But now it's going to be the very awkward turn for all of us, except for Joe Davies, to pick our Chelsea lifetime draft starting 11. This is going to be. For the rest of us, pretty much probably the best players we've seen. For Joe, it's probably going to be his favorites. But essentially, we're going to be choosing Chelsea players that we've seen during our lifetimes. And once a player is picked, they're out. Nobody else can take them. This is the first time that John and I have had to assemble an enemy 11, as it were. Joe's already had to make an Arsenal one, but it's also the first time that we've tried to do this thing live. Usually we sort this draft ahead of time, and we just have our guests sort of pick their favorite team. So this will be a little different. We'll see how it goes. To simplify things, I'm limiting us to 4-4-2s. And then in the interest of time, you've got 10 seconds max per pick before you just straight up get skipped. And then you can sort of fill in your team later, but you're going to get skipped. So I randomly generated a draft order before the call. And as it happens, Joe Davies, you have the first pick in the Chelsea.
Is this position order we have to go, or is it?
No. So essentially, once you pick a goalie, obviously you're not going to need a goalie anymore. But you don't have to pick a goalie first. You don't have to pick a striker first. I'm going to be keeping track of them. So you'll probably hear some clacking on the keyboard in the background. But you can pick whoever you want. And then it's going to snake. So it's going to go Joe first. John happens to be second. I'm third. Joe is last. And then Joe's going to get a second pick. And it's going to go back in reverse. So jump into it and it'll be pretty obvious. But yeah, I'll keep track of them. And Joe, you have the first pick of any Chelsea player from your lifetime to put in your 11.
Frank Lampard.
Okay.
Easy.
So
Easy first.
Lamps is in there first, and next up is John. So John, it's your turn to choose a player.
Do you know? For keeper, I'm going to put Mark Bosnich.
Okay.
Because of his excuse to failing the drug test, I found really funny.
Are you going to
kids? If you're listening, look it up.
Are you going to pick Adrian Mutu later, John, for the same reason?
Maybe. I've discussed them in an earlier episode, but we'll get to that.
Well, I'm cheating right now because I've been sort of like talking and not picking, but it is my turn, and I guess I'll pick John Terry, just because I figure that Joe would probably like to pick him later, so I'll take that off the table. But on to my co-host, Joe. Go for it.
Didier Drogba.
Okay, Drogba, and then you got a second pick, Joe.
I do. God, who the hell do I pick? I'll go with Ashley Cole.
Okay.
I was eyeing him up.
John, you're back up.
I'm going to go for Ricardo Carvalho.
Oh, wait, I'm putting that in with me. I was like, well, that's good, John. You've got Terry and Carvalho. Then I realized that was me. So no, you've got Bosnich and Carvalho. Okay, cool.
I certainly do.
Oh, did I skip myself? So essentially I did, and I gave you my pick, but that's fine. So I'll pick.
You can't have him back. I'm
going to take Petr Cech. And now it's Joe's turn, and Joe, you can have two picks this time.
Cool. So Branislav Ivanovic.
Okay. Is that a right back or a centre back, or you don't?
Right back. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Branislav Ivanovic and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Okay. Jimmy Floyd. John, you're up.
Do you know what? Paulo Ferreira.
Okay.
Great bloke. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, now it's my turn. This is getting kind of tricky. I'm gonna go for N'Golo Kante. Why not? And then Joe, you've got two picks.
Cool. I'm gonna go for ex-Spurs player Gus Poyet.
He was never getting picked. Never getting picked by me. It's ironic. It's quite fitting actually. We do a snake draft and then he gets picked. But...
Yeah.
I love Gus. Anyway, my other pick will be Joe Cole on the wing.
Yeah.
So you got Ashley Cole and Joe Cole. John, I'm back up rather, I should say. I'm gonna take Iron Robin.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
And then John, you're up now.
Back in the day, I loved watching him at Fulham as well. I'm gonna say Damien Duff.
Yeah. All right.
I just thought
Iron Robin. Yeah, you might as well take Duff.
Yeah.
So Joe Davies, two picks.
Yep, Hazard and Essien.
Nice. Ooh, Essien. Nice. All right, back to John.
Yeah. Someone in the middle. I'm trying to think.
Five.
I really want to say like Manish.
I mean, is that what you're saying?
I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw his goal against United like on Premier League years like a week ago. Obviously I'm impressed by it.
I love how round Manish's face was. Anyway, let's go. My turn. I should probably get a striker, so I'm going to take Good Johnson. Yeah. And then Joe, you've got 2 more picks.
Cool. First one from Stickerbook Memories. I'll take Ed De Hoy in goal.
Okay.
Great tash.
And then, who else will I take? Mateo Kesman.
That's a very random pick. I also love it's in my head. De Hoy is the goalie that Kanu, takes it around to score that hat trick from like on the goal line. That's all I really know about Ed De Hoy. My turn. I guess I'll go for another defender. Yeah, fullback. Gosh, they haven't really had any good left backs except for Ashley Cole, have they? Struggling. Am I going to get counted out? I'm going to go for literally. I've just given up and gone for Babiaro because he's the only left back I can think of. John.
Marcus Alonso, because I've met him once and he was actually quite nice.
All right.
So,
All right.
He loves scoring against Tottenham as well.
I
hate
scored a great free kick at Wembley. I remember.
So Joe, 2 more picks.
Carlo Cudicini.
Nice.
And Azpilicueta at left back, please.
Who was the left back? Sorry.
Azpilicueta.
I was going to pick him on my next go. I actually got to meet him.
Season left back, so he definitely counts as a left back.
I was just going to ask you, is Cudicini a snake if Poyet's a snake?
No, I don't. It's not the same. Not the same. He didn't kiss. He didn't kiss the cock. So
we've all kissed the cock at some point.
I was going to say, let's not repeat that. Okay, so Aspi. Okay, cool. John, up to you.
It's a bit of a throwback, but Jasper Kroenke.
Yeah.
I love Jesper Kroenke when I was growing up. He's my favourite player when I was a kid. Like randomly, I don't know why. Can't tell you why he's my favourite player, but he just was. I think because he had a cool name.
Yeah, he did. He scored the 20 million goal as well, didn't he?
Oh yeah, most important goal in history. But at the time when I loved him, like I think most Chelsea fans just thought he was rubbish. I think I was only about 7, 8.
So that's what John's gone for Kroenke. So now it's my turn. Struggling again. Centre backs. Let's go for Alex. Yeah. Let's go for Alex.
Very good player.
Wow.
And then Joe, you got 2 more.
Oh God, I'm going to go Jeremy at right back just because why not? And then, oh my God, who do I go for next? Oh my God, I'm just blanking here. This is how much I hate.
You need centre backs. You need centre backs and like midfielders.
Oh God, John Obi Mikel.
Yeah.
Great player.
John Obi, who was playing for Middlesbrough quite recently, I think. Might even still play for him.
How is it?
Now.
There you go.
Okay.
My turn. Do I want another striker or midfielder? I'm gonna go for Ramirez. Yeah. Because I think Kante and Ramirez, you can't really get much more of an engine room. John, it's your turn.
Up front, I am going to go for Chris Sutton. Because everyone forgets.
Did he win the Premier League with Blackburn? Was that a thing?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Chris Sutton won the Premier League.
Premier League winner, Chris Sutton. Okay. And Joe, back to you.
Hernan Crespo.
Oh, nice.
Baller.
Champion.
Why am I saying Chris Sutton when Crespo's?
Have I got another one?
Yes.
So I need centre half.
Yeah, centre halves and a winger.
Yeah, Desai, please.
Okay, Marcel. All right, so then John, back to you.
I'm going to go for Zola to partner Chris Sutton up front.
Yeah, that's big and little and large. Okay, me.
Nice.
I think I'll just try to find a striker off the top of my head. Wow, it's quite tricky because Shevchenko wasn't good.
Against Tottenham, though. Another one.
I'm just gonna go for Giroud.
Everyone scored against.
Get a little Arsenal in there. Giroud.
Oh, he's another one that always scores against Tottenham. Giroud.
He's a great player. Joe, you got 2, and then I think this is coming up to almost our last picks.
2 trolling picks here. Centre back William Gallas, just because he's just a weird man and he's played for all of our teams. And then I'm just going to pick Willian because I know Joe hates him and he's not doing well for Arsenal. So yeah.
So Willian, that completes Joe's. All right, and then it's my turn. So I need a centre back. No, I need a right back and a centre midfielder. Right backs. Let's go for the unibrow Basingwa. Yeah. And then John.
I'm struggling here. Do you know what? David Luiz,
Yeah, fair enough.
back. I keep on mentioning him, but yeah, he was quite good at Chelsea, wasn't he?
He was. He was quite good at Chelsea twice. He played for them twice.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Joe, these are your last two picks. And
so I need a right midfielder and a centre half. So Gary Keitel, centre half.
Nice, Gary.
And Pedro.
Okay. He's doing quite well at Roma, as is Mkhitaryan randomly. Apparently, if you just sell your players to Roma, they'll be good again. John, you just need a centre midfielder.
Michael Ballack.
Ooh, how has that taken this long? Okay, my turn. I just need a centre midfielder. I feel like I forgot to... Oh, no, I just deleted Kante accidentally. Okay, so I need a winger. I'm going to go for Pulisic. And then, Joe, you just need, I think, a centre-back, and that's it.
Yeah, I just need a centre-back. Robert Hoof.
One of my first memories of Chelsea is Robert Hoof getting sent off because Van Nistelrooy dived.
Oh, wow. Well, that's not the first time someone's been sent off when Van Nistelrooy dived.
I know.
But anyway, here are the teams. So Joe Davies, who had first pick, ended up with Kudicini in goal, a back four of Branislav Ivanovic, Marcel Desailly, Gary Cahill, and Cesar Azpilicueta. And then centre mids, Essien and Lampard. Wingers are Hazard and Pedro. Up top is Hasselbank and Crespo. John went for Bosnich in goal, Paulo Ferreira, Ricardo Carvalho, David Luiz, and Marcos Alonso. And then the midfield's Gronkiar on the wing, Manish and Ballack in the middle, Duff on the other wing, Sutton and Zola up top. My team's back in goal. John, you like that, did you? Back for Sigma, Alex, Terry, and I don't know why Babiaro. Midfield, Pulisic, Ramirez, Kante, Robin. Up top, Johnson and Giroud. Not much pace. And Joe, Ed De Hoy in goal, Jeremy at right back, Gallas and Huth are the defenders, Cole's the left back, John Obi Mikel and Poyet in the middle with Joe Cole and Willian on the wings, and then Drogba and the forgotten man, Mattia Kesman up top. I guess the only person who's really in any position to give somewhat of a educated and near objective decision making on this, I guess, would be Joe Davies as the resident Chelsea expert. So Joe, I'm sure you think your team's the best. I probably think your team's the best too, but yeah, what do you make of these lineups?
Yeah, I mean, I bet Manish can't believe he's lucky he's playing next to back, but yeah, that's a good thing. So we've had a lot of good players. We've had a lot of good players over the years. So having four people in a snake drop, it pretty much churns out a good team no matter what. But I think having Hazard, Crespo, and Hasselbank in your attack, it's hard to beat that. With a Gary Cahill and Desailly solid, with Ivanovic at right back as well.
Do you think?
And Azpilicueta, very defensive. No, very defensive fullbacks, but
True.
no one scoring. And we've got Hazard and Hasselbank and Crespo.
Yeah, it's Ivanovic and Azpi. They're not. Yeah, definitely not modern day wing backs. Definitely not Ivanovic. It's quite good to see him back at West Brom. Have they played you yet? They did, right? Did he play in that game?
He didn't play, no. To be honest, I'm glad. I don't want him to play against Chelsea.
He used to score against Arsenal a fair bit as well, so I would never really look forward to us playing against Ivanovic. He really went through a spell of being one of the top defenders in the world. Right,
okay. So I've had the misfortune on a few occasions of introing Arsenal sections on this podcast, but now has come the time to intro a Chelsea section, which arguably is even worse. But thankfully, this task has been made a little easier because on the day you're either listening or watching this, if you're listening on the day it gets released, we're only 2 days away from Chelsea playing against my team, Spurs, at Stamford Bridge. And I thought I'd mention before we get into the chat, earlier this year, Spurs did play Chelsea in the Carabao Cup and we beat Chelsea on penalties. So obviously we'll be looking to get our second win of the season over Frank Lampard's side. So Joe, I mean, it's obviously a big game, but let's just be serious for 1 second. And if you had to guess, how many goals are Spurs going to beat Chelsea by on Sunday?
It's again, like you say, it's going to be a tough game. We're probably the two best teams in the league at the moment. Arguably, I think you're playing really well. Mourinho's football is working really well for you at the moment, especially when you've got Kane and Son at the other end, they're always going to put it in. Like, you don't need many chances when you've got them two. And whereas we're a lot better defensively now. Like Thiago Silva and Mendy it's been ridiculous how much has made us more solid at the back, especially Mendy, because Kepa was just. I mean, we would have finished third a long time before we did. Well, we didn't. We finished fourth, but we would have finished third by a long way if we didn't have Kepa last year, because the goals he was conceding was just ridiculous. And Mendy's come in as a breath of fresh air. Like, he hates conceding, so he's only conceded 3 goals since he's been here already. And yeah, he's a very good keeper. Thiago Silva at the back is just oozes class. Like, and Zuma next to him, like, best seen Zuma. He just always attacking the ball. That's the thing with Zuma, is he's really good aerial defender. So good at attacking the ball and that, but he can be a bit ditzy when he's not got someone telling him what to do. So Silva's like the perfect partner for him while we still have that aerial threat. So it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a 2-1 either way, I think. I don't think anyone's going to walk. Well, you're not going to run away, but you play 2 defensively. So, yeah, I think I'm always nervous for Chelsea Spurs. Like, this is a game I feel sick about every year. So, like, yeah, it's like win 2 games. It's Tottenham at home and Tottenham away. So I'm never confident for these games. They make me ill. So.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, from the Tottenham side of the fence, I am, and this is probably wrong of me, but I am confident for Sunday. The only thing, I mean, I'm confident at having watched us against City, where in the second half in particular, we looked like a Jose Mourinho side and not Tottenham for once. We actually just played quite well, which was nice to see, albeit in a very un-Tottenham way, very kind of like tactical, kind of focused, measured way. But the only thing that worries me for Sunday is that our centre-back pairing is likely to be Dyer and Joe Rodon. And Joe Rodon hasn't really played for us yet. So if I'm honest...
Joe Rodon.
Yeah, we signed him from Swansea. He's by all accounts, he's meant to be quite good. And whilst Dyer, I've not always been his biggest fan, in recent games he's looked great alongside Toby Alderweireld. But yeah, that worries me ever so slightly, assuming that he goes with Rodon ahead of Sanchez, who seems to kind of be out the side now. But yeah, Joe, is it weird for you? I know he's been our manager for a year, but how do you feel about Jose at Spurs? Is he dead to you, or do you not really care?
Oh no, he's dead to me. Of course he is. Goes without saying. He's gone to Spurs. No, it's a difficult one with Mourinho. Like the Man United one was annoying enough as it was. Like that was really annoying, but. With Man United, it's like, right, I'll be pissed off at him, but as soon as he leaves, I'll love him again. But then he went to Spurs with mate, obviously, which is the word, like the cardinal sin. Like, so I don't know. I don't know how I feel about him really, like, because he obviously is our best ever manager. Like, goes without saying. Other than Di Matteo, of course, won the Champions League and FA Cup double. But yeah, it's just wrong. Like, it's just wrong. So. Yeah, I don't know what's going to be like when he finishes at Spurs, whether I'll just forget about it and be like, oh yeah, he's our best ever manager. But
he's going to be the guy that wins us the league, so I don't think you'll be forgetting about it.
Well, the thing is, what I do feel good about the weekend is, like you said, you're confident. And I'm a conversation we've had when you've been confident that Spurs will beat Chelsea, and it never works out that way. So
that's true. Although one thing I remembered actually, which does give me confidence, is one of those classic football things, is that I remember when that one time we did beat you at Stamford Bridge.
I was in America.
You weren't there, and if I'm not mistaken, it's being played behind closed doors. So you're not going to be there. So we're going to win. That's my thinking. We're going to win because you're not going to be in the stadium.
That's true. Obviously, like, yeah, I was in America watching that. I was in a bar. I was in my hotel in Boston waiting because I had a flight very soon to New Orleans. So that game never happened, as far as I'm concerned. So,
well, hopefully Sunday's game will happen, and you can finally witness that Tottenham win at Stamford Bridge.
It's again, like I say, it's that game I always feel ill about. I always feel sick when I wake up. Even talking about it now makes my belly go.
I'm just excited, but I shouldn't be. I've been. It's failed me too many times this game.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's making me feel better that you're excited. I always remember how confident you was. You was going to beat us in the cup, and we just done you 4-2. That was.
Oh God, yeah, sad times. Very sad times.
Yeah, Joe. Do you think Frank's legacy could potentially be ruined in about 3 seasons' time?
Yeah, no.
No, not at all. Nothing.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, like, I mean, as Frank alluded to yesterday, the proper fans, they know, like, no matter what Frank Lampard does, like, he's Frank Lampard. Like, he can do what he wants. Like, it doesn't matter what he does. As long as he doesn't go to Spurs, then he's all right.
That's the thing. To be fair, I felt sick when I saw Jose Mourinho in that Spurs tracksuit. I was like, what is going on there? That was the weirdest thing. He's always
loves the attention, but Lampard would never do that. But
we don't want Lampard. We don't want Lampard, Jay. That will make
yeah. Honestly, fast forward 20 years.
There ain't nothing he could do. Like, at the end of the day, the worst that could happen is that he doesn't work out, even though it's pretty clear with the improvements that we made that he is working out. So I think the worst that could happen is that we just don't really win much, and then he'll leave, which is fine. Like, it doesn't ruin anything. The fact he's our best ever player.
That's the thing. Like, you're a Chelsea fan, and you're saying it's fine not to win anything. Like, it's weird because you guys are ruthless winners. To be honest, I
realise what we're going through. We are going through a rebuild. Like, and we're going that back. We didn't spend last year, obviously, because we couldn't. We had the ban. And for the first time, well, in my life anyway, we actually started using our academy and our young players. And we've got obviously some cracking players there who's going to be in our first team for years to come now. And I mean, for me, I think it's pretty clear that we are going to win things. But like, even if we don't and Lampard has to leave, it doesn't change the fact he's Frank Lampard. So he can't ruin nothing.
Fair enough. And at least he's got a Latin GCSE or A level.
Exactly, yeah.
As well,
exactly.
So.
What do you make, Joe, of before I jump into this little rapid fire game that I have set up of sort of your attacking options and fitting them all onto the same pitch, or choosing to leave some of them out with the likes of Ziyech, Pulisic, Werner, and Callum Hudson-Odoi, Giroud, Tammy Abraham, like all of these guys, even in the midfield, one game Kovacic is playing, the next game Jorginho is playing, like you're having to drop pretty talented players. Does Frank have an idea of his best 11, or is he the type of guy that approaches every game differently?
There's a bit of both. I think our best 11 now is pretty clear. Like, it's Mendy, James, Silva, Zuma, Chilwell, Kante, Havertz, Mount, and then Ziyech, Werner, and Pulisic. But Pulisic's made of glass. So, like, how often we're going to see that, we don't know. And with all the games we've got, it's good that we've got the depth, because Tammy's been fantastic this season again. Like, he's been brilliant. Like, putting Werner out wide and then Tammy up top, like, he's reacted brilliantly to like all these different attacking options coming in, because I think everyone thought, just Tammy won't play now, but as you've seen, he has, and he's really good. And like, but I think what's really good about Frank, and this is a thing, like we've seen the improvement with Chelsea. Like from last year, we struggled a few bit, and with our young players, and we lost Hazard and whatnot, and now we've got. You can see how much better we are. We've tightened up at the back, and we're improving. And what I like about Frank the most as a manager, which I couldn't stand about Sarri and couldn't stand about Conte even in his second season. Much as I love Conte in the second season, is them two managers, they were both so stubborn, and no matter what the game was, Sarri would always play 4-3-3 and just make like for like subs. Conte would always play 5 at the back and just make like for like subs. Whereas where Frank will just completely change formations, he'll completely change shape and like adapt to what's needed, which is like, I think that's why he will be successful, because at a big club you can't be stubborn, because people will work you out. Because it's not like, I guess, when you're at a smaller club and you're not going to have, when you're playing Chelsea, you've got all the access in the world to work out how Chelsea play. Like, it's going to be everywhere. So you can't just approach every game the same way. Whereas like I remember games with Conte in his second season, once everyone worked out how to play against 5 at the back, we'd be losing the game. And instead of making him go forward at the back, bring on another attacker, he'd just bring on a fullback who couldn't defend as well, pretty much. So, yeah, I think he does adapt well to like certain games. So, yeah, but I think it's clear what our best 11 is when everyone's fit.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for the rest of us, I think you're right, and that Frank is, from the looks of things, building something quite potentially special at Chelsea. If we look back to Abramovich coming in and all the money being spent and what Mourinho was able to achieve, this is kind of the second coming, albeit slightly different, and maybe the competition from Liverpool and City and others is a bit more intense than it was back then.
Don't forget Tottenham.
And well, I mean, I did forget them actually, but Yeah, to finish up for today's pod, I've created a mini Chelsea-related section in honor of something else that I used to watch on TV besides football in my childhood. So, top of the pops, obviously, was the famous British chart music TV show, but this is top of the flops. What I've got is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think, pairings of players who've signed for Chelsea over the years. And I'll name both of them, and I want you, Joe, to tell me which one was a bigger flop. So, the first one that we'll start off with is Shevchenko versus Torres.
Well, that's difficult. I mean, I think you'd probably say Torres, because I think the thing with Torres, I know he had some important goals, I guess, and like won the corner in Munich, but I think he held us back for a long time, which was the issue with that. And we changed our way of playing to try and fit Torres in and make him play well. See, he was very much clearly an Abramovich buy. He weren't like, the manager didn't go to him asking him for him. He just like, we can get him, like, he's a big name. Even though, like, I was so excited when we bought him. I remember going into school, because I was in school at that time. I was going to school the next day, absolutely buzzing, just rinsing every Liverpool fan I could find. But obviously, I think they had the last laugh there. But yeah, I think he just held us back. So I think it was that transfer window when we could have signed Aguero. It was between like Aguero and we ended up signing Torres instead. And it's just like one of them, like, if we had just signed Aguero, he's a pretty handy player. So I think, yeah, probably Fernando.
Okay. So Torres over Shevchenko. Next up, Felipe Luiz versus Yuri Zhirkov.
I'd say I wouldn't say either of them were flops because they weren't like terrible players. They just didn't really play. Like Felipe Luiz was a handy player, he just barely played because we played Ivanovic at right back and Aspi at left back. He scored a good free kick at Derby away, I remember. Nice freezing cold Wednesday night. Yeah, I'd probably say Felipe Luiz just because he barely played despite we spent quite a lot of money on him. And Yuri Zhirkov scored a lovely half volley in Europe away in a Russian side on AstroTurf that I can slightly remember.
Yeah, I always liked Zhirkov as a player. So next
he
up,
would be, right now, Zhirkov would be a fantastic left wing back at a 5 at the back. Because he was never quite a left back. He was never quite a winger. He was in that in between. So if he was around now, he'd be a really good left wing back, I think, for a team that plays 5 at the back.
I mean, he's still going strong, I think, in Russia. Although I'm not suggesting that you guys are going to bring him back. But
no. I think, yeah, like in his good old, he'd be good at a Wolves or something currently with a wing back, or even at Chelsea when we had Conte.
Well, moving into the midfield from the wing back position, Tiamue Bakayoko versus Danny Drinkwater. I don't want you to tell me that those weren't flops because they 100%.
No, they was. Drinkwater is, I think, our worst ever signing.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Well, at least he's got some distinction.
Yeah.
Otherwise, go on.
Bakayoko had one very good game against Tottenham. Surprise. So that makes him all right in my book. You play well against Tottenham, then you're all right. And Drinkwater just, we spent 35 million for, I think I don't even know how much he played, but he hardly played. He's just not good, is he, really? He's
not brilliant. No. But he's won the Premier League with Chelsea and with Leicester. I think, did he win it with you guys, like as a squad player?
Maybe. No.
He won it with Leicester.
No, he was Conte's second season.
And he's played I think he was a Man U academy player. So he's played for Man U and Chelsea, and he's won the Premier League, and he's not that good. So he's done quite well for himself. Moving on to the wing. Gael Kakuta versus Quaresma.
Again, I guess it exists on Celtic because both of them just hardly ever played. We got Quaresma was only a loan, so it's not that damaging. And Kakuta, we got took to court for, so I'd have to say it's Kakuta.
Kakuta, okay. Yeah, I remember that. And it wasn't really worth it in the end because he was not.
No, not in the slightest.
Funny enough, Gael Kakuta scored tonight. I saw him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where is he?
He's like 29 or something, or 28. Like he's still got some years in the tank. And he was probably one of the first, because I think when you signed him, he must have been around 15 or something like that, which I think was part of the reason why there was controversy because he was so young. But he was definitely really hyped. And I mean, he plays in Ligue 1, I think, so that's something. Anyway, moving on to strikers. And these were also both temporary moves, so you didn't invest too much. But Radamel Falcao versus Pato.
I'd say Falcao was a bigger flop. Just because, Pau just seemed like a nice guy. He just seemed to enjoy being there. I quite liked him. Scored a penalty against Villa, which was lovely as well. So Falcao was just rubbish. So.
Yeah, it was weird at Man U and at Chelsea. Falcao obviously had injury problems, but for someone who on his day is one of the best strikers ever, I would almost go so far as to say he didn't.
I remember he absolutely tore us apart in a Super Cup.
Oh my goodness, yeah, for Atletico.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
And Petr Cech in goal too. He really destroyed him.
Yeah.
All right, this is the last one, and these ones are really kind of obscure, flash in the pan players for Chelsea that on the surface might have looked exciting at first, and then they really didn't produce. So it's Cuadrado, and then this other one is like a real Easter egg player who I think most people won't even know, Baba Rahman.
Baba Rahman. Oh, 1 Baba, 2 Baba, 3 Baba Rahman. Come up with some of him before even playing, didn't you? Who was the first one again? So I just can't
Cuadrado.
Cuadrado. Again, none of them play, so it's hard to say. I guess we managed to flog. With Baba Rahman still plays for Chelsea, so he's got to be the biggest flop because he's still here for some reason. He played in the development squad the other day.
Oh no, poor Baba.
Drinkwater and Baba Rahman played together in the development squad the other day. So yeah, Baba Rahman, we somehow still have him.
I guess that's nice for the youngsters coming up to get to, and not so nice for Danny and Baba, but yeah, some experienced heads around them. Well,
I think I could walk past Baba Rahman in the street and not know who he is. Yeah. So I'm sure the younger players probably don't either. Probably think he's a trialist.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all right. Sounds like from that list, you said Drinkwater was an epic flop, and otherwise Torres sounds like he was quite a damaging signing potentially to Chelsea at the time. But that actually, yeah, does bring us to the end of today's episode. And I have to say, big thank you to John for being with us. And then as always to my co-host, Joe. And then this time a special thank you to today's special guest, Joe Davies. Joe, it was, an absolute pleasure having you as our guest. And we hope you enjoyed it as well.
Oh, it's really good. I love talking about football, so happy to do it anytime.
Yeah, no, really nice to meet you. I know obviously, you and Joe go back a little bit, but like I said, great to have you as a guest. And how can our listeners follow you? And also, I guess, Joe Davies, what does following you look like? What are they going to be in store for?
I guess so. My Twitter is ShedUpperG5. I wouldn't bother following me unless you want to get spammed. ShedUpper, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't bother following me unless you just want to get spammed with Chelsea and NFL tweets. So if you like Chelsea,
NFL team,
New Orleans Saints.
Nice. Okay, so that you know where to follow Joe now. But just before you go, Joe, very quickly, give me your score prediction for Chelsea versus Spurs on Sunday.
2-1 Chelsea.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going 2-1 Spurs. There we go.
It's a safe bet. 2-1 either way is always a safe bet.
I don't really know what, as Arsenal fans, John and I are.
0-0.
Yeah.
No enjoyment for anyone.
Bunch of injuries, bunch of red cards. 0-0. Yeah.
0-0. Headbutts everywhere. Perfect.
Well, Joe, again, thank you for being our guest. Joe Davies, thank you so much. And then to the listeners, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please do follow us on social media and your favorite podcast streaming services too. So that's the best way you're going to be able to keep up with all our stuff. We're releasing 2 new podcasts every week. And then those are ending up as videos as well, in case you want to be able to put some faces to the voices. For that, it's going to be United Mates Football Podcast on YouTube. And then for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, it's at United Mates FP. Thank you very much. And until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Goodbye.